Hello, everyone. Sorry for the blooper at the very, very beginning, and welcome to Words from Behind the Desk. We are here on another beautifully rainy Wednesday, and actually behind our desk, so it's just the perfect show to be watching right now. Guys, we're so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. If this is your first time joining us, thank you. We look forward to having you a part of our tribe. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and give this series a like and share it on your personal page or on your business page, just so we can give more value to more people, because we have an incredible conversation as always. My name is Vyky Rifai, and I am always joined by the lovely Rania Arwani of Arwani Law Firm. Rania, how are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. It's raining and I love being home, and I don't do really well. I'm not doing really well with working from home, but it's working, kind of,
I mean, on a rainy day like today, you don't have to drive to the office.
I
That's
know.
safer for you.
Yeah,
Perfect.
an hour, like half an hour, to the office and back. Half an hour, so that's good. That works.
Perfect. And Rania, we are going to be talking today, or everybody, you may be wondering what a guardian ad litem is, but don't worry, because we have a perfect person to have a conversation with. We have Jessica Thomas of Thomas Law Firm, and we are going to welcome her. And bloop. Hello, Jessica. How are you doing?
Hello. Happy hump day, ladies. How are you?
Hey, we're good.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much for joining us. I have questions. I've never heard of this word before, but I know that you're the girl, the woman who has some answers for me.
I do. I have all the answers. I am the ring keeper for Lord of the Rings. I know the secrets.
Yes, you are. You are the
Wonderful. Let's go ahead and deep dive right into it.
So recently, I was talking to Jessica, and during our conversation, because she's a good friend of mine, I found out that she's a guardian ad litem. And I had no idea. And I was like, how does that even happen? How do I not know that you're a guardian ad litem?
You know what it is? It's mea culpa. It is my bad. There are so many times, we're working moms, we're professional women, we're business owners. A lot of times we don't really do a good job at promoting all of the skills that we have. But I've actually been a guardian ad litem since I started practicing back in 2011, so almost 10 years now.
Yeah, that's amazing. So Jessica, let me ask you this. What is a guardian ad litem?
Great question.
So
let's start there.
In the most basic form, a guardian ad litem is someone who looks out for the best interest of the child. That is the key, pure focus of a GAL. However, a guardian ad litem can be someone who makes a specific recommendation to a court, depending on what they're appointed for. But it's someone who you can think of in a litigation case, which I know not everybody knows litigation, but think one side is, looking out for what they want. One side is looking out for what they want. But often in cases involving minor children, there's not really someone who's just focused on what's going to be best for the children. Often people get caught up, as Rania knows, as a well-respected divorce attorney. Sometimes people just say, it's my fair. Well, no, of course I want, my fair share of time, without thinking of what's best for the children. So that's what a guardian ad litem, the key focus, what is in the best interest of the children, and making that recommendation for the court.
So let me ask you this. So best interest of the kids. So we're talking about family law cases, but we also have guardian ad litems in dependency court, correct?
Correct. That's actually, go ahead.
Yeah, explain that to us. I'm sorry.
Sorry. So that's actually where I got my start. So you have for us in Orange County, you have the Legal Aid Society, and they allow us to be pro bono guardian ad litem. Those guardian ad litems are in dependency cases. Dependency, for people who don't know.
Uh-oh, we lost her.
I think we froze a little. Jessica, are you still there?
Can you hear us?
I'm sorry. I love the lives, because I love when this happened, because you know what? It shows that we're human, and it shows that the internet was created by humans.
It definitely does. Yeah.
Let me see if I can.
At a good time, because I like the way it was right
now. Let me see if I can remove her, and then go ahead and see if I can re-add her in. I'll wait until I start seeing her moving, because a guardian ad litem, when I first saw, I think
there we
just
go.
boom, beautiful.
I was like, So I'm like, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I was just texting Rania. Okay. So I'll start that one again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for dependency law.
So I'm sorry, go ahead. I thought I'm gonna, yeah, go ahead. Never mind.
Dependency law is, for people who don't know, that's chapter 39, which is abuse, abandonment, neglect. So when you hear words like Department of Children and Families, case plan, case managers, that's those types of cases. And those guardian ad litems are provided free of charge, and their job and role is more so to rule on things or make recommendations on things like reunification, case plan changes, motions to change the placement of the minor child, things like that, motions for travel, things that the parents are asking for through their regional council, versus when you have a guardian ad litem in a family law case, we are kind of under our statute as far as 6113 that we're looking at the best interest factors, and we're making recommendations on things that the court is going to have to rule on, such as a parenting plan, parental responsibility, even sometimes healthcare, you name it. But there are guardian ad litems. I wanted to make a point to say there are guardian ad litems in all types of cases. Even I've been a guardian ad litem in an emancipation case. I've been in a guardian ad litem in a insurance case about whether or not there should be a change from structured settlement to a lump sum plan. So anytime you have minor children and someone who needs to look out for their best interest. But the key difference for a guardian ad litem in a dependency case and a family law case is what they're going to be making recommendations on.
So talking about guardian ad litem, I know there's a question that Vyky wants me to ask, but Vyky, before we ask your question, I'm going to ask a different question. So what is between a guardian ad litem and attorney ad litem?
So an attorney ad litem is an advocate for the child's wishes. That's different. So let me give you an example. I was a guardian ad litem for a child who I got her when she was about 13. And so there are plenty of times that she may, in our interviews, in our home visits, said, I want X, Y, Z. I want to go to my friend's house. I don't like that this particular foster home only lets me stay out till 8. That may not have been in her best interest. So I agree with the foster home. And I say, nope, you need to be back in this house by 8 o'clock. And no, I'm not going to make a recommendation to the court that you should be able to stay out till 10. Now, an attorney ad litem, that is that's your client. Just like that's Rania's client. Rania has to listen. Well, she doesn't have to listen to what her client says. We have ethics. But beyond that, you're supposed to advocate, zealous advocacy. That's an attorney ad litem. Think of an advocate. I am thinking of the best interest of the child. That's it. I am not thinking about what they solely want. I do consider it because the best interest factors have a factor that says the reasonable preference of a child of sufficient age and maturity. So it's not that I'm not considering what they want. It's just, it's not my sole basis. So, but that's the key component. One is looking out for what the child's best interest is, and one is the advocate for the child's position.
Excellent, excellent.
Very interesting.
Explained it perfectly.
Perfectly.
Yes.
I couldn't have said it better myself if I knew what it was.
All right. So what's the process of having a guardian ad litem appointed in a family law case? How does that work?
So often what will happen is there's a conversation. There's a conversation first. There has been some kind of back and forth, an issue that everyone is saying he said, she said, and they can't get on the same page. You need a neutral party who can kind of really get into the nitty gritty and go through those details and see what truly is, kind of transpiring between these two parties. Okay. So once there's been a conversation between the two opposing sides, what do you think? Do you think we need somebody? They go over their options. Someone's going to mention a guardian ad litem. If both sides can agree, fantastic. They're usually just sending in a proposed order with who they want as the guardian ad litem. If they cannot, someone needs to do a motion to appoint a guardian ad litem. And practice tip for even those newer attorneys or pro se litigants, the Florida Supreme Court has a family law form, motion to appoint guardian ad litem. You can go right on Google and get it, or Yahoo or Bing or whatever your search engine preference is. You can go on and get that form. Once you get the form, it's going to ask you why. This is what sometimes people, I volunteer at the courthouse, and people will say, I don't know how to fill this out. It says why. You need to be specific. Why do you need somebody else to come into this case? What is the purpose? Whether it be to decide about a relocation, whether it be decide about shared parenting, whether it be to decide who should have ultimate decision making over one particular area of these children's lives. That's what you're going to be saying, why you need help. Why do you need help? Once you do the motion to appoint, it'll be set for hearing. And I will tell you, in my years of experience, I have yet to see where the courts are just not inclined to grant that, because it's beneficial normally. It's beneficial to have someone who can do what, our judges have like 3,000 cases each, I think.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of cases for them, and they're trying and they do a phenomenal job. So it's beneficial if I can have someone who can read through, all the medical records, who can talk to people. That's beneficial to me. To have somebody here, a helper, great. I'm not opposed to it. What I tell people to think of is that there's a cost. That's the key to remember.
The cost, yeah.
There's a cost. So you do the motion, you have a hearing, and then the judge will rule one way or the other.
Yeah, perfect. So
what exactly, we've talked about the process and cases, and you've given us a little bit of rundown of what a guardian ad litem is, but what does a guardian ad litem actually do?
You're doing what's, it's almost like this kind of research and a resolution for people. So for example, a guardian ad litem is going through what issues are presented in the case, specifically as to the minor children, and they are going to prepare a report. They are potentially going to testify, and they're going to do some, just over general research and review of that case, and interviews, things that, are more detailed that we can talk about. But it's a general investigation to see what needs to be resolved for the issues that have been presented to you. That's the key component for any guardian ad litem. Even those of practitioners who are watching this and are interested in becoming a guardian ad litem, your role is narrow to what you've been asked to consider, whether that's the parenting plan. So in response to what does a guardian ad litem do, I may make a report about what I think should be done for shared parenting. I may make a proposed parenting plan. I may say, hey, look, this is what I think the time sharing arrangement should be that's in the best interest of the child based on what I've, gathered in my review of the court file and the investigation of the parties.
And when you're doing
Very cool.
what you're going to do is you're going to follow the 6113, best interest of the child, correct? It's based
correct.
on law.
So when I do it, first, when you're thinking of the motion, let's say the motion gets granted, there's going to be an order appointing guardian ad litem. Again, it's statutory. That's why you have a Florida Supreme Court form that corresponds with it. It's statutory. So it outlines the scope of what we're able to do. The parties can agree to a broader scope. The parties can agree to a more narrow scope. You get that kind of benefit. However, that order is incredibly important. When I'm doing my investigations, and let's say I'm going to a school, the first question is, who are you? Why should we let you talk to Teacher Johnson? Why should we allow you to see little Bobby's records? I have my order that says I'm permitted to see little Bobby's records. I need Teacher Susie Cakes to talk to me, and I need to be able to write notes of what little Susie said to me. So my order is very important. That order references what Rania is talking about, which is Florida Statute 6113. Those factors, A through T, are the best interest factors. Think of them as our commandments when we are dealing with children. It's so expansive, and in true lawyer fashion, Rania will know this, factor T is and any other factor that could deal with the children. It's of course the catch-all. Any other factor. If we have forgotten something on this extensive list, any other factor is factor T. So yes, that is my job. And when I'm doing my reports, it be in any type of case, emancipation, divorce, paternity, and you can have guardian ad litem modifications. You're trying to change things, relocation. You have that GAL. They are focused on what's in the best interest of the child, and they are making sure that they're considering moral conduct, DCF cases, domestic violence, all things, delegation of third parties. Those are all factors. So yes, a guardian ad litem makes a recommendation to the court based on those factors within the scope of what they've been retained to do.
And that recommendation is going to be in a report, and typed up in a report filed with the court, correct?
Correct. And so that's also important to know. There have been cases where you have people in that order, which is why it's important, who they're like, I don't want the GAL's report entered. I don't. And now keep in mind, this is a common confusion for not practitioners, but pro se litigants. Just because it's in the court file does not mean it's in evidence.
Nope.
Two different things. I can put whatever I want in the court file within reason. I can't, it's not, that doesn't mean the judge gets to consider it. It's not like what you file automatically goes to the judge. I just told you all, they have 3,000 cases. They can't get all of your pleadings. That would be overwhelming. So yes, instead what happens is you file that report and the parties review it. And then I file addendums. There's plenty of cases that, that's a good point, Rania, that I want to make sure people know. A guardian ad litem's role in a case can be like this. Like, I asked you to come for this motion for temp relief, exactly. Or it can be that, but you can be on there for the duration of like a 3-year divorce, exactly. Or 4-year case.
Wow.
And, you can be on it the whole time because we're the guardian ad litem until we're discharged.
Exactly.
I have to be discharged from the case. And so it's important to remember that, yes, you're right. I do my report, but there are so many cases that things change. Now I'm doing an addendum. Now I'm doing a supplemental report. Now I'm doing a lot of times I'll do an interim report. Like, they'll hire me and there may be a quick issue, especially in relocation cases where they only have that short time frame to have the hearing, which I think is like 90 days. That's how quickly they got to get in.
The temporary one is 30 days.
There you go. And when it's that, you better believe I don't have time to do everything, in 30 days, depending on when I was appointed. But I do that quick preliminary report and I make a key point to say, these are my initial impressions. This is my initial, just my recommendation based on what I've been given. Here's what I've been given.
Exactly. I had a case where I think we had like 5 different reports filed. The first report that because the guardian ad litem was on the case for maybe, I think it was like 4 years.
There it is.
Oh my gosh.
And like you said, Jessica, the cost of that is enormous.
That's what people don't know. They think, and Rania deals with this, I'm sure, all the time. Often people get confused and think, hey, I'm going through a legal process. It's maybe not my choice. Maybe I'm the respondent. Maybe I didn't want to do any of this. Maybe I didn't want a divorce. Maybe I didn't want to come to court for something, or a Department of Revenue case. And I didn't ask for that. You didn't ask for that, but that doesn't mean it's not the same as like a criminal case or dependency case where certain things are going to be automatically appointed to you, or even a domestic violence case where we have a translator that comes for you, that's not happening in your divorce. You're not automatically getting a guardian ad litem. You've got to ask for it, and you've got to be able to pay the fees for a guardian ad litem to come in and do that work.
Exactly.
And remember, guys, friends, thank you guys so much for joining us. For those of you who are just now joining us, we are with Jessica Thomas, who is a guardian ad litem. And if you have just joined us, please rewatch everything that she's already said, but make sure you visit her website, thomaslawimhere.com, if you are looking for more information on a guardian ad litem, because she's explaining a lot to me that I didn't know about. And it sounds like you basically are advocating for children, which is phenomenal and super cool that you're tied solely specifically to the child, and your only concern is what is in the best interest of the child, not the parents, not whoever hired you, but solely for the children.
You just hit on a phenomenal point. It is not even just who hired you. That is your job. We take oaths as attorneys, like I'm sure my oath is right here on my wall. I'm sure Rania's is right there on her wall. They're not
in my office.
In your office. We don't take
I'm gonna get you one for your home too.
Yes, you need one for your home. Maybe they can make it for our key ring. We take that oath very seriously. And so you hit a good point. It doesn't matter if mom hires me or dad hires me. It doesn't matter if they split the cost. It doesn't matter if one person and I've done their guardian ad litem work 5 times. It doesn't matter if this is my first time dealing with those counsels. Doesn't matter. My focus is the children. It is important as a guardian ad litem, and especially as a guardian ad litem who has been a practitioner. I know what Rania and her opposing counsel need. I know what the court needs to hear. I know what the confines of what they can do. I know that I can't say, I was thinking about it and I just think there should be no child support for anybody. What? What statute are you reading that allows us to waive child support in the state of Florida?
Is this in the best interest of the child?
I think that's in the best interest, or I think it's in the best interest that we just split up all 3 kids, or I think it's in the best interest that grandma is part of this parenting plan. And, like, you got to make recommendations that the court can do. And stay within your lane. I can't be a guardian ad litem who's making recommendations about equitable distribution and alimony of some child. So yes, that's all I focus on is the child.
There you go. So
Very cool.
Think the question that Vyky and I discussed is a guardian ad litem, is their job to be an advocate for the child?
And the answer, no. And I tell you, I think of another case where I had a younger girl, and she was about 13, and there was allegations of abuse, right, by dad. And so these are kids. This is what's important to remember, and why it's so important of who you choose as a guardian ad litem and their experiences and how long they've been doing this and what their credentials are. That little girl wanted to be back home with dad. She wanted dad back in the house. That would have been her decision. That would have been what a 13-year-old wanted. I want dad back. That was not what I could recommend. I have to go through what's in her best interest. I have to look at all the factors. I have to consider what's been presented to me. So an advocate for the child in the sense that I'm advocating what's in their best interest to the court. I'm not advocating for their desires or wishes solely. Now, remember, like I mentioned, there's reasonable preference. I consider it, but it's not the sole basis. My focus is what is your overall best interest for what we need to do to keep you safe, keep you healthy, to keep you mentally healthy, what's going to be best for you for a duration of time and keep you stable. That's my choice.
That is so cool. Why didn't you tell this to everybody and scream it from the rooftop that you're a guardian ad litem? Scream it. Oh my God. It's the coolest,
so can I wait, let me show you that award on the wall. It's the Elizabeth Susan Corey Guardian Ad Litem Award of Excellence from 2018 that I won, and you are right. I should have it on the website somewhere because I am super, super proud. Like, it even outlined, they added up the hours, and at that time I had done almost 700 hours of pro bono volunteer guardian ad litem work.
So
you're right. I need to start.
I mean, before even having it on your website, tell your friends.
Exactly.
You're right. You're right. I do. And it's the bright spot. It is where we're zealous advocates, and Rania is phenomenal. She is fierce. Like, when people use things for lawyers and they're like, this person's a shark, this person's a bulldog, this person's very like a good advocate. That's totally Rania. That is a lot of practitioners we know. But when you get to be like, for me, when I get to be a GAL, I don't have to be aggressive. I'm just going to tell you, I think you're wrong. I don't think that's where they should go. I don't think they should relocate. It is a breath of fresh air to just focus on the children. That's it.
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine. Can
you?
I can kind of. I can. I would scream it from the rooftop. It sounds like it's just that thing that just fills you up on the inside. I get what it is that you do. You're always advocating for whoever it is that your client is, but it sounds like a special place. And I think maybe that's why you haven't maybe wanted to communicate it as much, just because it's so near and dear and sincere to you, that it's nothing that you're trying to say, I do this, I do this, I do this. No, this is something that comes from within and that you do because you really have a heart posture toward it, which I think is so cool, and it speaks volumes for you. And I appreciate you explaining what a guardian ad litem is, because again, I didn't know it before today.
Well, thank you.
So I'm gonna ask.
I love it.
Go ahead. What did you say? I'm sorry. See, this is what
I was just gonna say I love it. Go ahead.
It's live, Rania. This is what happens when you're live.
It's not like we're talking over each other. I did not mean to do that.
Go ahead.
So, Vyky, I'm going to ask you a question, and then you're going to answer, and then, of course, we're going to get the real answer from, the correct answer from Jessica.
Oh, wait, you're going to ask me a question?
And then you could answer. Let's see if it's right or wrong. So, Vyky, do you think a guardian ad litem is an expert?
I think that they are they are supposed to be no. I think that, yes. Jessica, can I phone a friend? Jessica?
I know. Good old millionaire. Yes. Phone a friend. To me, my personal opinion and professional opinion is that when I think of an expert, and Rania can tell you, we think of Albert Fry. I think of I'm qualifying someone as an expert witness under our Florida statutory rules of what we have to do. I'm thinking I had to give notice ahead of time about my expert witness. That's not what we do as far as a guardian ad litem. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't want someone with expertise. And that's, I think, the key. Exactly. No, you're not having someone that you're going to have to qualify on the witness stand as an expert witness. What articles have you written? How long have you been around? What are your colleagues? You're not asking those questions. Instead, you're saying, how long have you been a guardian ad litem? How did you prepare for your testimony today? What did you consider for your report? You know, what kind of interviews did you do? A big thing that I get a lot when I do my pro bono GAL or my private GAL, I get the feedback of, wow, you really give a lot. You're doing more than what I expected. I actually had that. I had a GAL interview yesterday, and the person said, gosh, you really are asking the right kind of questions. How did you know? It's because you've been doing this long enough. I know because I've been that person at the table advocating for one side and hoping that the judge rules in my favor, and hearing the judges give the feedback of like, hey, you guys didn't give me XYZ, or I needed to hear about this, or I needed this evidence, and that's what I was looking for. So that's why I will say a guardian ad litem is not a qualified expert under, like, we don't do it through a statute. We don't put them on the stand and go through the questions, but they need to have certain expertise.
There you go.
I love it. That was my answer. Is that the right answer?
That was a good job, Vyky. Good job. I heard you.
I appreciate that, Jessica. I appreciate that, Jess. Nailed it. Mic drop. So I heard you talking about interviews, though. So when you talk about interviews, because I have a friend who's going through a situation with a guardian ad litem, and I'm curious to know what kind of investigation do you conduct? What does that even look like? You do interviews for.
So let me tell you, and I want to give the caveat, good old lawyer, I want to give the caveat, this is what I do. Everybody is different. The first thing I have to know is the timeline. Do you need me to be there for a temporary relief hearing? Am I just conducting an investigation for trial? What is it, that relocation temp hearing? What do I need to do and when? And then I plan. Once I do the planning, I say, okay, I know I've got to talk to mom and dad or husband and wife. I know that's the first step. Once I talk to them, I allow them or their counsel to give me a list of who they want me to interview, whether that's grandma, grandpa, a teacher. Oh, you've got to talk to the ROTC person. You've got to talk to this coach. They give me who they think is going to help, kind of support their position.
To give you like a full range of what is in the got you.
Correct. A picture of the people who have personal observations of this child, of what's going on with this child, and what's in relation to the allegations I'm resolving or considering. Then I do document review, copious amounts of document review. That includes everything that's been in the court file. I'm reading everything in the court file in addition to what's being sent to me. Let's say someone's seeking ultimate decision-making over the medical care of the child. I'm reading medical records. Let's see, someone wants my recommendation on whether or not they think that there should be a relocation. I'm looking at, flight plans and proposed parenting plans, things that maybe aren't in the court file that the parties want me to consider. Beyond the interviews, beyond the document review, I do my own research. So in addition to that, again, this is me. If you're asking me about relocating to New York and you say that it's going to be a much better, situation for you, I'm going to kind of do some checking up on what you tell me. You say that this is a great school zone. Well, now I'm looking up the school zone, and maybe that's maybe I find an article and I include that in my report. If you tell me that you should have majority time because you're really great at facilitating things as far as travel between the other parent, I may ask you for documents. That's another thing. Not just what you give me. I may say, do you have some text messages that show that you've been offering a lot of time and that you're super good at facilitating time sharing between the other parent? Do you have some proof? I ask for calendars. I may ask for call logs. So I not only get what's given to me, but I have my own list of things that I may want to see and review. Once I do all of that, then I write my report. And my reports are 10, 15 pages. I write this report of everything I've read, everything I've spoke, everyone I've talked to. I do all my factors that Rania mentioned, 6113. And then I make my specific recommendations based on what was outlined to me that I was supposed to review, usually in my order, or they usually put some kind of idea of what they wanted me to talk about in a motion. And they say like, hey, in that motion to point, we're looking for the GAL to talk about X. That's all in my report. That's what I do in addition to making sure that I've kind of dotted all my I's and crossed my T's of anything else that they've argued in the pleadings. So anything else they've brought up, I make sure I touch on it in my report.
I love that. You have a full like 360 view over everything to make a informed decision in your advocacy of what's best in the child's interest, not advocating for the children. I learned that today. That is super amazing. Jessica, I appreciate so much you kind of breaking down guardian ad litem for all of us and all of our viewers today. It was amazing. I learned quite a lot, and I don't know why I want to hire you. I want to hire you. I feel like my children need you in their life. You know, sometimes maybe I'm not level-headed. So if anybody else is looking again for any more information, you guys can visit thomaslawimhere.com to speak with attorney Jessica Thomas, and she is a wealth of knowledge. And Jessica, I appreciate you being here. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on this show today.
And Jessica, thank you so much for again, this internet thing, this Facebook thing, we're talking to each other. I am sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say thank you. I appreciate you both, and definitely Rania. This is definitely, girl power, supporting one another, because I just mentioned it to her, and it is something that I do. I get a benefit from. In my practice, I do family law and adoptions, but when you are a guardian ad litem, Vyky is right. When I have gone to some not so nice areas in the middle of the night, I have gotten calls in the middle of the night, especially in my dependency cases. You're copied on hundreds of emails. Rania knows from these divorce cases, hundreds of emails that they're like, I'm telling the guardian ad litem, hundreds. You do it because you care about the children. And I care so much. I think it's important that they have someone who is just looking out for them. And so I appreciate the opportunity. And yes, you can always contact me through either my website. I encourage people to call my office, which is, it's just the 407-717-9990. You can always call my office and set up an appointment. Practitioners, I also put a lot of my trainings with the Legal Aid Society, so those are on their website as well.
Perfect. You are amazing. Thank you so much for all you do, Jessica, and for advocating for the children of, our city, our county, and God bless you.
Thank you. Seriously. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And that was an amazing, I learned a lot. I appreciate everybody who joined us today. Remember, we will be back here next week with another incredible guest next Wednesday at 2 p.m. again here on Facebook or on YouTube or on LinkedIn, wherever it is that you're watching us at. And if you have any questions for us specifically, or even about guardian ad litem, you can always email us at manager@arwanilawfirm.com. And until next week, we appreciate you, we thank you, and we hope you stay safe. And we will see you guys next week.
And have a happy rest of the day. Hump day.
Hump day. Bye, guys.
Bye.